Contact 811 before you dig, or visit pa1call.org to submit a locate request to have underground utilities marked.
Toyota's National Sales Event is on. Visit your local Toyota dealer and discover which Toyota is right for you. Choose from the boldly stylish Camry, the adventure-ready RAV4, the legendary Tacoma, and more. Toyota, let's go places.
Eagles fans, Merrill Reese here to talk about my friends at NovaCare Rehabilitation. Are you dealing with ongoing aches and pains? The physical therapist at NovaCare will help keep you active and doing the things you love. They have more than 200 convenient locations throughout the Delaware Valley and South Jersey. Visit NovaCare.com to schedule an appointment today. NovaCare is the official physical therapy provider to the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles trust NovaCare, so can you. Experience the power of physical therapy. At Hand and Stone Massage and Facial Spa, members get more care, more results, and more time just for you. One visit feels good, but a routine, that feels different. It's self-care that's easy to start and even easier to keep going. Hand and Stone's expert massage and facial care is personalized, consistent, and designed to keep you feeling your very best month after month. Book your first visit today. Visit handandstone.com or your local spa.
Everyone has a fave Wendy's Frosty flavor. And when you're choosing from chocolate or vanilla, it's not that hard. But now, there's all new Frosty Swirls and Frosty Fusions. So try picking your fave from Oreo Brownie Fusion, Pop-Tarts.
Experience luxury and take advantage of exceptional savings at BMW of Atlantic City.
Sunday morning in the locker with Billy Schwein, producer Alex Berardis, and Mr. Negadelphia, PJ Corda. Join me in the studio. Every Sunday during the baseball season, we go on the mound with former Phillies pitcher Tommy Green, brought to you by Blitz's Market in Ocean City. We'll get Tommy's thoughts on the Phillies down the stretch. Then we will recap the Eagles-Browns in preseason game number 2. Which Eagle impressed the coaches and who did? All that and more is The Locker with Billy Schwein, Sunday morning from 10 a.m. to noon on 97.3 ESPN.
The 2025 Little League Classic, live from historic Bowman Field in Williamsport, Pennsylvania.
Let's go light up the night.
Cal, Raleigh, and the Mariners have broken it open.
We're going to have some fun memories here tonight.
Cal Raleigh and the Seattle Mariners face Juan Soto and the New York Mets.
I was these kids not too long ago, so, it's awesome to be here.
Coverage begins tomorrow at 6 Eastern with first pitch at 7 Eastern.
Listen to Sunday Night Baseball on 97.3 ESPN.
Something good to know from First Bank of Sea Isle City. We have all of today's innovative banking products just like the big banks, but we offer something they can't. A personal community focus. Let's get you started with Bill Pay. You save time when you pay your bills online. It's fast, easy, and convenient. First Bank of Sea Isle City, a community bank that delivers more for you every day. Personal service, today's technology, from the people who truly care. Learn more at firstbankseaisle.com.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Tonight, on Compass Media Network's coverage of the NFL, the preseason rolls on as the Dallas Cowboys open up play at home against an AFC powerhouse, the Baltimore Ravens. Hi, this is Ted Emmerich. Join former Cowboys receiver Jesse Holley and me for all the action as the Cowboys and Ravens continue their preparations for the season. It's the Dallas Cowboys and the Baltimore Ravens. If it's the NFL, it's right here.
Football lives on 97.3 ESPN FM.
Coverage begins at 7 p.m. Home of the Philadelphia Eagles.
They got him again!
Sixers.
Bang! It's good! Ball game!
And Flyers.
Tipped in front of the net!
97.3 ESPN. WENJ. WENJ HD. Millville, Atlantic City. A Town Square media station serving all of South Jersey.
Finally!
This is Hanging with Hennig.
I have friends everywhere.
On 97.3 ESPN Radio, South Jersey.
In New Jersey. Am I right? Yeah.
Live feed on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
It seems to run on some form of electricity. Well, you're not wrong.
Streaming live on YouTube, Instagram, and the X platform.
The internet is a communications tool used the world over where people can come together.
Now, here's your host.
He's not gone. That's the whole point. He's never gone.
Josh Hennig.
Special edition of Hanging with Hennig. Josh Hennig here, 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle. We are streaming live on YouTube and X in the Dr. Squatch virtual studios. If I'm going to be completely brutally honest with you guys, I have no idea why the Eagles radio network, which preceded me here on 97.3 ESPN, did not bring you guys Nick Sirianni press conference, but I got it for you right here on 97.3 ESPN, because we will hear from Nick Sirianni in just a moment. We grabbed the audio, we got it ready and queued up for you, we being me, here in the Dr. Squatch virtual studios. We are live on YouTube and X at Josh Hennig at 97.3 ESPN. Thank you for being part of the show. Eagles lose on the scoreboard, but they win at a couple particular positions. We will get into that and more coming up. Text board is open, 609-403-0973. And, of course, you can send your DMs into 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle. And as I mentioned, we will have the Nick Sirianni press conference here in just a couple of minutes here. I'm just queuing it up on my soundboard. But let's hit my notes really quick, because you guys can join the conversation. We'll also keep you updated on the Phillies game. It's currently 0-0 in the top of the fourth inning, which is good news and bad news, right? Good news is that you're not losing. The bad news is you're not winning, because the Phillies offense is struggling against another mediocre pitcher, Cavalli. So, I almost said Cavalier, no, Cavalli. So, we'll keep you updated on the Phillies, because I got to tell you guys, they're very fortunate they won the game last night. It was so nice of Bryce Harper to wake up and actually hit some balls last night. I mean, what a concept. Former league MVP, a guy who's building a Hall of Fame case. You might like him to hit the ball every once in a while. Well, he hit the ball last night. Today, not so much, as they are getting shut down by a guy that I think 99% of our audience listening on 97.3 ESPN has never heard of. But we got to get to the Eagles. Eagles, as you hear every season here on 97.3 ESPN, home for Eagles football in South Jersey. A couple major takeaways from the game before we get to the head coach, Nick Sirianni, here on 97.3 ESPN. Number one, for a guy making his debut, Drew Makuba looks like everything you'd hoped he'd be and more. Drew Makuba literally looked like a man on a mission. And I think his mission was to prove to everyone I should be the starter at safety. And I know people are going to point to the interception return for a touchdown, which, yes, was an amazing play. He displayed incredible instincts in that moment. But I'm just going to keep it real with you guys. I thought the best play of the game was the fumble recovery. For him to have the awareness to not just come up on a run play, which honestly you could have, if your observational skills were not good enough, you might have thought it could have been a pass play in that situation. And then it's a run play up the left side. For him not just to come down for the play, for him not just to read it, but then to also diagnose that it's a stretch run play, then when the ball gets hit on the ground, to beat every single human being on the field to the ball. There's 22 men on the field at that time. He was instinctively the first person to lunge at the ball. Gets it. That gives you an idea of this young man's amazing instincts and why when the Eagles drafted when they drafted Makuba in the second round, Vic Fangio was so excited to get the guy from Texas, previously Clemson, because this is who he is. He is an instinctive individual. He knows what to do. That interception he made was ridiculous. Now, it was also a bad throw by Dillon Gabriel. Why Dillon Gabriel is throwing into a crowd of people, I have no idea. But still, Makuba deserves credit for coming out of it. He performed well today for his first real action on an NFL field. He looked like everything you'd hoped he'd be and more. That was my first takeaway. My second takeaway is it just me or is Jihad Campbell better than we expected? I know it sounds a little crazy, but he does look better than we all thought he was going to be. The way he is diagnosing plays, the way he is breaking through protections, sliding left, sliding right, getting past blitzes on the quarterback, he looks absolutely like everything a first-round pick should be. Is he a little raw sometimes? Yes. Were there a couple plays where you were wondering why he didn't diagnose it faster? Sure. But I think overall, you have to be very, very excited about Jahad Campbell. Now, my question is, when Nakobe Dean is healthy, we don't actually have a timetable for when that's going to be, but when Nakobe Dean is healthy, am I the only one who is a little concerned that Nakobe Dean might have just lost his job because of his injury? Because I don't see a scenario where you can keep Campbell off the field for long stretches of time if this is the player he can be. Nakobe Dean, I think, is being relegated to the third or fourth linebacker. And I say potentially the fourth because this is now the second straight game. This is my third note I have. This is the second straight game where both Smile Mondin and Jeremiah Trotter Jr. look more than capable of playing linebacker as an every down backer. Now, don't get it twisted. I am in no wise saying or inferring or trying to put it out there that I think that I'm not saying a Smile Mondin or Jeremiah Trotter should be starting for this football team, okay? So please don't misinterpret what I'm saying, because I know some people out there, you're going to text in at 609-403-0973, or maybe you're going to chime in as we are live on YouTube and X in the Dr. Squatch virtual studios. Josh Hennig hanging out with you for a special edition following the Eagles preseason game number 2. And, of course, we will lead you up to the Cowboys preseason game number 2. So bookends right here on 97.3 ESPN. But don't get it twisted. I am in no way saying that I think that Smile Mondin or what's the other guy? Jeremiah Trotter Jr. I'm so obsessed with Jahad Campbell right now, and I'm shocked that people don't think more about him. But I am so thoroughly excited about seeing linebackers actually know how to do their job. It's almost borderline perplexing, but it also puts a smile on your face. Because it is very clear, it is very obvious that this organization has had such poor linebacker play over the years that now when you have competent players like Smile Mondin and Jeremiah Trotter Jr., you almost don't know what to do with them. It's almost like you're looking around and be like, wow, these guys are actually good. Now what do I do? And I think that is where I'm not inferring that Nakobe Dean is losing a job or he's losing a roster spot. But a Jeremiah Trotter Jr., Smile Mondin, and Jahad Campbell are the players they look like in these first 2 preseason games. Nakobe Dean is going to have a much, much, much lesser role moving forward. Because, to me at least, it looks very much like this organization has hit a home run when it comes to linebacker depth. Smile Mondin is shown he's great at diagnosing different plays. Meanwhile, you have a guy like Jeremiah Trotter Jr., who he basically is a lesser version of Jahad Campbell. He's like Jahad Campbell light, or, if I don't even know how to describe it. Jahad Campbell is just such a freak, and like Jeremiah Trotter Jr. is like a just slightly lesser freak. So to me, I think of it as how fortunate this organization is that they have legitimate linebacker depth now. And if everyone is healthy and everyone's playing at their best, my working theory, oh boy. I mean, my working theory is it should be Bond and Campbell at linebacker. And then the two primary backups would be Nakobe Dean, Jeremiah Trotter Jr., and then Smile Mondin gets to be the fifth linebacker / special teams freak. Because that's part of the reason why they drafted him, is because he is a guy who is a willing contributor on special teams. So those are my big takeaways. By the way, notice none of my takeaways so far are the offense. I thought the offense had a rough day. The Eagles offense, as you heard here on 97.3 ESPN, Eagles versus Browns, it was very clear that this team still has a lot to figure out when it comes to some of the backups offensively. The whole rotating of Kyle McCord and what's his name? Dorian Thompson-Robinson was just so strange. I was not a fan of that. It's like you never gave either guy an opportunity to really get in a rhythm. And then the offensive line definitely struggled. And I don't know how much of it was the Browns saw those guys all week so they knew how to take advantage of them, and how much of it was those guys literally are just not cut out for this. Because it became pretty clear pretty quick to me that the Browns are a much better defensive depth team than the Bengals are. Because you basically shredded the Bengals starters and you struggled against the Browns backups. I thought that pretty much everyone on the O-line had some bad moments today for the Eagles. Now, again, it's not the starters. I'm not going to read into it too aggressively. But I'm just stating that's what I'm seeing. Anaya Smith, though, was one of the stars of all of this. Anaya Smith, I thought, has done a great job now for 2 straight weeks showing you that he is more than capable of being a depth wide receiver. Now, I don't know if I want him necessarily starting a ton of games for you yet, but if you're asking him to be the kick and punt return guy and to, if you're asking him to just be the guy and nothing else, then I think that, be a guy, then I think you're fine. He can be a contributor for this team. And I do think that there is a strong possibility that for an Eagles team that is still deciding what they are doing with the 4th and 5th receiver slots, I think Anaya Smith is pretty much locked in his gig. I think that his job is pretty much on lock. Not a great game for the other guys, though, receiver. Not a great game for the tight end. A lot of drops today by the second and third team offense. So I do think that there is some concern to be had with this team in terms of, okay, they were good one week, they were not so good the next week. Now, how do they adjust? Do we have players who are good enough to make the adjustments necessary? And then finally on offense, not on offense, the final note I have is defensively, Kelee Ringo again looked poor. He had some bad plays again. But Jakarian Bennett, you do see some good out of him. Now, he did leave the game with an injury. So I'm not 100% sure, what that means for this team moving forward. But they do at least look like that they're starting to figure out who the cornerback should be. And by the way, there's one other note on the corners. But first of all, this is 97.3 ESPN. Josh Hennig hanging out with you.
Home of the Philadelphia Eagles.
They've got him. It's a sack.
Sixers.
Oh, baby.
And Flyers.
He scored!
97.3 ESPN. WENJ. WENJ HD. Millville, Atlantic City. A Town Square media station serving all of South Jersey.
All right, Josh Hennig hanging out with you here on 97.3 ESPN. We will be joined by Chris Franklin from NJ Advanced Media, who's covering the Eagles today. All up at the link. He will join us coming up at 6 p.m. But right now, we are going to hear from Eagles head coach Nick Sirianni. Hopefully, he has some injury answers for us. You didn't get to hear this on the Eagles Radio Network, but you get it right here with me, Josh Hennig, hanging out with you on 97.3 ESPN. Here is the Eagles head coach, Nick Sirianni.
You did a lot of rotating of the quarterbacks today. What was the thought process behind playing time and what who you put in when?
Yeah, we wanted to get both of them reps and get both of them reps with the twos and also with the threes. So that was the thought process of why we rotated them within series. Again, wanted them to both be able to play behind the two offense line with the number 2 pass catchers and also with the number 3.
What is the decision to not play Tanner, knowing you've typically played your backup?
Yeah, got a lot of good work in that joint. Sometimes we only get one joint practice. This week, we were able to get 2 joint practices in there. It was really good work all week, and we felt like in that situation we saw a good chunk of Tanner there, and that was his work for this week.
How would you assess the play of both Dorian, and Kyle McCord?
Yeah, again, what I felt like it was just not great complementary football today. When you have the heat like that, you want to be able to, defense had some long drives, offense had some 3 and outs, and you want to be able to play complementary football in that area. And so, I have to watch the tape. Obviously, they had some good moments and had some plays that they made, but also we missed some plays. But that's not always just on the quarterback if there was a missed play. But I'll have to go watch the tape. It wasn't good enough out there on the field today, any coaching, playing, anything.
Defensively, when you have a player like Drew making plays, how much does that give him confidence? How much does that mean?
Yeah. I always thought that he has a knack for the football, how he practices, watching his tape, whether it was at Clemson or at Texas, and, has the ability to take the ball away. He's a playmaker. So anytime you go out there and make a play, that's big, all right? And so that was exciting, the interception, and even one he was there for the fumble recovery after, they had a missed exchange. Well, guys that have a knack for the football just find ways to be around the football, and I think that's what we saw today.
How difficult are some of these decisions going to be at safety? That job is open with Andrew and Sidney, and then cornerback and a couple of other jobs. Yeah, again, I feel like we have good depth to, I know you guys are waiting for us to be like, here's the guy who's starting. I think it's also a good thing that we have a bunch of guys that we feel good about that are still battling all the way till the end. And so that's what we're excited about. And it's always tough decisions, right? Whether it's, cutting a guy or whether it's deciding who's starting. And, that's why I have training camp, and that's why we have preseason games, though, to help us out with that. You're making those decisions. Do turnovers like that carry a higher weight in your evaluation versus other things?
Creating turnovers? Everything, everything's, whether it's taking the football away, whether it's tackling, whether it's block destruction, whether it's, just getting everybody on the same page. Of course, yeah, all those things play into it. And how much we stress the ball and taking care of the football and taking the football away. So that always goes into it. I think you look at the first half, we obviously didn't play a good game in whole. We really didn't play a good first half either. And we're winning 13-12 because of 2 turnovers, right? 2 turnovers to none. And so the ball is always at the forefront of our mind, but that doesn't mean you don't account for everything in it as well.
Tanias, there wasn't a ton offensively, but he was able to get separation on a couple occasions in the touchdown. How much different is he this year? He's dealing with that shin.
Yeah, I think you've seen his explosiveness that we saw at Texas A&M. His ability to get out of breaks, and I felt like I started to see that as well last year as he started to recover. And so, he's got an ability to separate. He's got ability to make plays. and he made a couple nice plays. That he had a third down conversion early in the game, and then he had the third and 9 at the 9 where he separated and had the touchdown catch. Yeah, he has the ability to separate because he has good body quicks.
During the summer,
until after we talked to you before the second practice, not after. It looked like the offense struggled. You're obviously without PJ and a couple offensive linemen. You know, what's your level of, if there is concern or assessment of how that?
You know, that's practice sometimes. You know, what I felt like is just it's hard to, even though you're not scoring points in practice, I guess to say it's hard to score points when you move backwards, and I just felt like we had a couple too many that we moved backwards on. You know, and that's for different reasons, right? Whether that's a pre-snap penalty, whether that's a negative run, whether that's a sack, all those things stalled drives out, and that's what I felt like with that second day of practice, more so than anything.
during the summer, was this the plan for Tanner, or did the way he played last week kind of sway you?
Yeah, again, what we felt like I said earlier, what we felt was like, hey, he got a lot of good reps in that week in the joint practices, and everything's case by case, everything's scenario by scenario, and that's why we went with the way we did today.
How about Ojulari?
I'll get you.
He was active in this game. What have you seen from him as the summer is going on?
Yeah, I think you saw his ability to be around the football, rush the passer, make some plays in the run game. Yeah, we like the things that he can do. He's been productive in this league, and we've got to see him 2 or 3 times each year when we have to prepare for him. So I think he's coming on and had a good game today.
After he got beat on the play downfield, his interception joint practice came after he got beat on the play. How much, when you're evaluating a rookie, does having that short memory go into?
Yeah, it's good. That's a good observation. We want that for all of our guys to be able to play the next play, to be able to go out there after an interception and play again, or after a big play. Right. That's part of mental toughness of, being able to be in the moment and fix the mistakes later, right? And we always talk about that, having the same attitude, effort, and energy regardless of the circumstances. That doesn't mean you don't go back and fix it afterwards and talk about the things that need to be better, but you have to be able in this game, in this league, to be able to, and this is coaching, this is playing, right, to be able to have a short memory, right, and move on so you can have your full focus, so you can coach and play with great detail and you can play with great effort.
All right, thanks.
Thank you, guys.
That was Eagles head coach Nick Sirianni, as you heard here. It wasn't heard earlier here on 97.3 ESPN, but we brought it to you here, hanging with Hennig special edition. Following the Eagles-Browns game, again, the final score doesn't matter. It's what happened in the game. Couple of notes on what Nick Sirianni said that I found particularly interesting. They asked him about the Tanner McKee. Why didn't Tanner McKee play in this preseason game? And Sirianni gave you the answer without giving you the answer, because he tried to play it off as like, oh, yeah, whatever. It's not that big a deal. But he kind of told you what the deal was. The deal was that it sounds like they basically got him enough work during the week, and they didn't want to expose him against the Browns team that they had a feeling was going to come full blast. And you saw today that Jim Schwartz, uncharacteristically, the former Eagles defensive coordinator, now the DC for the Browns, he brought some blitzes. He brought some exotic looks. And I think that there was some concern. The Eagles foresaw what happened today, which was guys like Matt Pryor, Darian Kennard, guys like Jake Kendall, Brett Toth. These guys just not have a great day, right? When they started changing out the line and played a little better at times, certain guys came in like Hinton and they played a little bit better, but it seemed overall the offensive line had some struggles. And I think that they said, look, we saw enough of Tanner McKee this week in joint practices. We didn't need him to get into this game. Was the first part of it. Second of all, he also exposed they're thinking. He said, well, he says, we don't really think about it like that, during the offseason, which basically told you, he said that Tanner McKee has become so valuable as the backup to this team that we don't see a need to put him in harm's way. But they also don't need to see a need to put his value in harm's way. And that's a conversation that we have had here on 97.3 ESPN. Nick Earnshaw on Nick's Nuggets has brought this up during the week on Sports Bash with Mike Gill, that if there was a scenario where if a team called you saying, we'll give you a high draft pick, are you trading Tanner McKee? I think the Eagles don't want to trade him, but if someone comes with the grandfather offer, it means they're the godfather offer, the offer you can't refuse, then you're going to make that deal. I don't think this organization wants Tanner McKee physically or his optical value to be diminished by playing in a frivolous game. You know that Dorian Thompson-Robinson and Kyle McCord are semi-disposable at this point. Only one of them is going to make this team as the number 3 quarterback. And remember, in the NFL now, you have to have a guy who gets designated as the emergency third quarterback. Does not count against the team on game day. So because of that, DTR and Kyle McCord are legitimately competing for something. Now, what this means for the next preseason game, I'm not necessarily sure. I think there's still some guys on the offensive line at the receiver position who are playing for jobs still. But you heard Sirianni say that they wanted to rotate the guys to basically put them in different situations. Okay, I don't hate the explanation, but I don't think it's a great answer either. I kind of feel like that was Sirianni basically giving you a non-answer. I think what the real answer was is that they didn't like. I think there were 2 problems. One, they wanted to see if the problems Kyle McCord was running into, how much of it was McCord and how much of it was DTR. They figured out it wasn't McCord or DTR, it was the offensive line. And I think that's going to be part of the tape watching this upcoming week. Jeff Stoutland's going to take guys to school because some of those assignments, they were missed altogether. And the one interception off the deflection by the Browns, that's not the quarterback's fault at all. We demerit the quarterback for it, but that's not the quarterback's fault at all. And then another point you heard Sirianni bring up about how happy he is with Anaya Smith's production. Not surprising. I think anyone with half a brain is happy with it. But I think overall, Sirianni doesn't like to lose. Okay? He does not like to lose games. But I think he is, as he's now entering this being his 5th season with the Philadelphia Eagles? Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 5th season with the Philadelphia Eagles. I think he's starting to be able to separate now the difference between winning on the field and winning with the roster in the preseason. And I think that there is a lot of coachable moments from this game that Sirianni and his coaching staff want to get to. By the way, nothing game. Phillies, they've gotten 7 hits in this game, have scored 0 runs. Right now, the Nationals have 2 men on first and third with 1 out. Taijuan Walker trying to survive the 5th inning here. I say survive because this is the most trouble he's been in the entire game. Taijuan Walker only has 54 pitches in this game. Keep you updated on the Phillies game here on 97.3 ESPN. All right, you guys let me know how you feel. I've written down my notes. Makuba, Campbell, Anaya Smith. Those are like the big 3 if we're doing hockey. Those are the 3 stars of the game for the Eagles preseason game. Definitely some demerits for Keely Ringo again. Definitely some demerits for the entire Eagles offensive line. Also, demerits for anyone not named Anaya Smith who played receiver today. There were so many drops, including a guy who's competing for a job, Kylan Granson, the tight end. He actually got the start today as part of the second team / third team offense, and he did not have a great game. Ben Sumrin, he had a good game. A.J. Dillon had some good reps out there. Tristan McCollum was solid. Smile Mondin was good. So there was some good things to take away, even though on the scoreboard, the Philadelphia Eagles lose to the Cleveland Browns. We'll get more into it coming up next. Plus, right now, Taijuan Walker just struck out. Guys got strikeouts, and now it's 2 men on, 2 out. I'll let you know. Does Taijuan Walker survive this inning? Josh Hennig hanging out with you, 97.3 ESPN FM, 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. And we are streaming live on YouTube and X in the Dr. Squatch virtual studio. Chris Franklin from NJ.com, he will join me coming up at 6 p.m. as we will review the Eagles-Browns takeaways as well here on 97.3 ESPN.
Tonight, on Compass Media Network's coverage of the NFL, the preseason rolls on as the Dallas Cowboys open up play at home against an AFC powerhouse, the Baltimore Ravens. Hi, this is Ted Emmerich. Join former Cowboys receiver Jesse Holley and me for all the action as the Cowboys and Ravens continue their preparations for the season. It's the Dallas Cowboys and the Baltimore Ravens. If it's the NFL, it's right here.
Football lives on 97.3 ESPN FM.
Coverage begins at 7 p.m.
Your go-to spot at the Jersey Shore to watch sports is also the Can't Miss Summertime Hangout for live music and great times in South Jersey. Yesterday's Creekside Tavern on Roosevelt Boulevard in Marmora features The Yard, with an outside bar, TVs, and live music on stage every weekend. So bring your friends to cheer on your favorite team, watch the sunset on the back deck, and make new summer memories in The Yard. You can do it all at yesterday's Creekside Tavern in Marmora. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram to learn about upcoming events and specials all summer long at yesterday's Creekside Tavern in Marmora.
Well, these polymers aren't as flexible as batch K3.
Researcher Laurie is stretched thin.
Did you get the vulcanization analytics from V66? Oh, wait, are these rubber scores from last week?
She needs to hire new lab technicians so she can bounce back into her old self.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our matching platform lets you spend less time searching and more time connecting with candidates. Redeem your $75 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
Kohl's Back to School sale is here with deals on looks your kids will love all year. Because even though they're sad summer is ending, let's be real. Some of us are ready. It's time to trade the all-day PJs and always damp swimsuits for styles that'll keep up and hold up, so your kids will be ready too. Shop Kohl's Back to School sale and bring on the new year. Select styles, prices good through August 17th. Some exclusions apply. See store or kohls.com for details.
Eat up, buddy. It's almost time for school. You take charge of your home. You take charge of your work. Don't forget to take charge of your gut health too with Nature Made probiotics. Nature Made has clinically studied probiotics that work with your digestive tract's natural bacteria, so you won't miss a beat in your daily routine. Find us in the vitamin aisle. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
This summer, get ready to relive the glory days. Because Hank Azaria and the Easy Street Band are bringing the ultimate Springsteen celebration Saturday, August 23rd to the Music Box at Borgata. Tickets are going fast. Grab yours now at Ticketmaster.com. August 23rd, the Music Box at Borgata. Hank Azaria and the Easy Street Band, a Springsteen celebration. Be there.
Change is always happening. It's part of life. And when it comes to music, change is all around us. Songs are rewritten. Classics are remixed. Bands and artists come and go. Even our taste in music changes. Here at Xfinity, we know there's still good in keeping some things the same. That's why we want to do our part with a 5-year price guarantee on our internet. It means no matter what changes, you get 5 years of the most reliable Wi-Fi with our best equipment included for a price that stays exactly the same. Surprised? Life is full of them. One internet price, 5 years, guaranteed. Learn more at xfinity.com/deals. Restrictions apply. New residential customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August 2024.
Do Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms keep coming back? Tremfya, guselkumab, may help,
with rapid remission achieved at 12 weeks and lasting clinical remission at 1 year. Some even saw visible improvement of their intestinal lining at 12 weeks and 1 year. Tremfya is a prescription medicine used to treat adults with moderately to severely active Crohn's disease and adults with moderately to severely active ulcerative colitis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Healing is possible with Tremfya. Approximately 3 out of 10 patients were in endoscopic remission at 1 year, based on areas visualized on colonoscopy, which may not represent the deeper bowel layer or entire GI tract. Individual results may vary. Ask your doctor about Tremfya today. Call 1-800-526-7736 to learn more or visit tremfyaradio.com.
For the entire month of August, power up your weekends with the Red Tag Clearance event at Whitehorse RV Center. Take advantage and score bottom dollar pricing on travel trailers, fifth wheels, and motorhomes. Whitehorse RV has them all in stock. These vehicles are perfect for tailgating, road trips, and getting away on your terms. There's no games at Whitehorse RV and no pressure. Just real savings on RVs built for freedom and fun. Don't wait. These Red Tag deals won't last. 2 locations to serve you in Williamstown and Galloway. Whitehorse RV Center. Your RV adventure starts here.
Now back to Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN FM.
I don't want them to gain another yard.
And on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
You blitz all night!
Streaming live on YouTube, Instagram, and the X platform.
When I've talked to Nick Sirianni this summer, he talked about in the offseason, all right, I won a Super Bowl. How do I get the sustained success? How do I go out and win another one? He talked to Nick Saban. He talked to Gino Auriemma. He talked to Peyton Manning. And part of that equation is having an honest assessment of what your football team is all about. Honest critique during training camp. So important. And you heard that from Nick Sirianni yesterday. After the second joint practice with the Cleveland Browns, he talked about too many negative plays. Not putting the ball at risk. Translation, don't turn the ball over.
That was ESPN Sal Paolantonio. He was on Get Up yesterday, and I think the way he described Sirianni in that conversation embodies what you heard from Sirianni today as we played you the Sirianni post-game presser. Eagles lose to the Browns in the preseason. More importantly, Sirianni and his coaching staff have learned more about their team. And I'll tell you what they learned about their team this year, so far in the preseason. They have way more depth on defense than they do on offense. And if you are an offensive-minded head coach, I am curious to find out, how long does Sirianni put up with that? How long does Sirianni put up with the idea that his offense does not have the depth that you... If you're the coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, you are not 100% comfortable with the depth that you have behind your offensive line and the depth that you have when it comes to anyone not named A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, Jahan Dotson, and then Anais Smith. That's the other part of this craziness. Josh Hennig hanging out with you live in the Dr. Squatch virtual studios, recapping what has been a very interesting last several days for the Eagles between joint practices and their preseason game number 2. Chris Franklin from NJ Advanced Media will join us coming up at 6 p.m. to get more into what we saw today in this past week. But if you're the Eagles, there's certainly a part of you that's looking around like, you know what? Our defensive depth is better than we thought it was going to be. But we got some questions on offense. I wrote about it at 973ESPN.com about how there is a competition right now for who is going to be the final receivers on the roster and which tight ends are going to make the roster and the practice squad. Because remember, in today's day and age, the practice squad is basically an extension of the roster. So you can basically stash guys in the practice squad for whenever you need to call them up. Well, you saw today that there was really only one guy who had a good day. maybe 2, but nobody is under the impression that Taylor Morin is going to make the roster, okay? He's having a nice day. Good for him. He had a good connection with Kyle McCord for some catches. But outside of Anais Smith, everyone on this team dropped a pass today. Kylan Granson, he's competing for a tight end job. He dropped the ball. Darius Cooper, who looked great last week, he dropped the ball today. Cameron Latu, a guy who could be a practice squad guy, he dropped the ball today. E.J. Jenkins, a guy who was on the team last year, he dropped the ball today. There were guys dropping balls left and right today. And if I'm Sirianni, a former wide receiver coach for a long time in the NFL, he was probably losing his mind after this game. And maybe part of the reason why he didn't come out to the media immediately is because he wanted to talk to his coaches and maybe get a better idea of, all right, what did we actually see? Because it was mentioned multiple times, if you were listening to Merrill Reese and Mike Quick calling the action right here on 97.3 ESPN, or if you were watching on the television broadcast with Scott Graham and Ross Tucker, but both broadcasts brought it up, that it was very hot and humid up there. And some of the guys, they were getting a little ill on the sideline. There were a couple of guys who reportedly maybe didn't eat or ate too much, shall we call it, before the game and couldn't hold their food down anymore. So there's a possibility that maybe some of these guys, they were having some negative effects to the weather, the humidity out there. But it seemed to affect the Eagles receivers more than the Browns receivers, which gets us to the situation with Kelee Ringo. Another game where Kelee Ringo looked bad. Another game where Kelee Ringo had some plays that go on the don't do this column or category, I should say. You know, if you're in the film room, right, and you're saying, here's what to do, here's what not to do, I thought Kelee Ringo landed in the here's what you don't do category again. And he was on the field into the third quarter. So this organization no longer looks at him, at least in my perspective, as he's competing for his starting job anymore. I think Kelee Ringo has, through the actions of this coaching staff, been eliminated from the job for second corner. I think it's going to come down now to Adoree Jackson and Jacorian Bennett. The other side of this is, can we talk about Adoree Jackson for a minute? Adoree Jackson has been a very frustrating player at times because in these 2 preseason games, there have been moments where he has looked really bad. But there was a moment today that I thought was very, very good, which was when Jacorian Bennett made a big play, and then later when Tristan McCollum made a big play. Who was the first person to greet them coming off the field? It was Jackson. I think Jackson is going to make this team as of August 16th. Now, I could be wrong by the time we get to the cutdown day, which is 10 days from now. But as of right now, I think Jackson was auditioning for a job because he's a veteran. And I think he realizes that Bennett is going to get this job. He had a couple okay plays today. I'm not going to take that away from him. But I did think that it was very interesting to me to watch Jackson talk up his teammates, cheer them on, be part of the rooting section, right? And listen, Jackson had a couple of solid plays today, so I think that it's starting to look more and more like Bennett is going to be the starting outside corner, because especially the way he played today. But then also, I think that Kelee Ringo is going to make the team as a special teams player and as a backup to the backup corner. I think if anything happens to Quinyon Mitchell or Bennett, unless they make another trade, Jackson will be the first man in. It will not be Kelee Ringo. I think Kelee is going to be relegated to the fourth or maybe even fifth corner, Because you know what a solid day today? The man that Mike Gill has a man crush on, that being Mac McWilliams. I thought Mac McWilliams looked way better in this game than they did in the previous game. And if you notice, they didn't throw to him very often. That's how well Mac McWilliams was playing. He was not targeted a ton in this game. You know who was targeted more? Keely Ringo. You know who was not targeted as much? Mac McWilliams. Mac McWilliams, I thought, did a very good job today. And again, as of August 16th, Josh Hennig hanging out with you on 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle, and streaming live on my YouTube channel and my X platform at Josh Hennig in the Dr. Squatch virtual studios. If you were watching the game like I was, you would look at this team as saying the number one corner is Quinyon Mitchell. Number 2 is Jacorian Bennett. Number 3 is Adoree Jackson. Number 4 is Mac McWilliams. And then Keely Ringo has 5. I think Keely, through his play and through the way the coaching staff views him, has proven himself to basically be the weakest link on this team. Not the missing link, the weakest link. Because he just had so many bad plays again today. And right now, with how good Drew Makuba played versus how bad Keely Ringo played and how well Bennett displayed himself. And by the way, Bennett wasn't perfect. There was a play in this game where he looked like he was a bit out of position and a very, very good slant route ate him up, okay? There was a slant route by Davis that got him. But overall, he played well. And I think that what you saw from a team like the Browns today is they showed you the flaws of the Eagles. They said, we've seen these guys all week. We had joint practices against you. We know how to attack you in this game. And so, as Sal Palantonio said, they are evaluating this team saying, what are the flaws? How we need to get better. And I think that how poorly Ringo played, how great Jackson was at encouraging his teammates, talking guys up. I think how poorly guys like Jenkins and Marshall and Robinson, and again, the star up to this point was Darius Cooper after last week. Well, this week he didn't look so good. We went from trying to write Darius Cooper onto this roster to him playing himself potentially to the practice squad. If that. Josh Hennig hanging out with you here on 97.3 ESPN. By the way, the Phillies are losing right now 2-0. I got to give Taijuan Walker some credit. The man has gotten through 6 innings. He's only given up 2 runs. He could have given up more in the 5th inning. He only gave up the 2. This Phillies offense is an embarrassment. How on earth do you have more base hits than the Nationals, but you're losing 2-0? This Phillies offense is turning into the most exasperating thing about this team. They have left 5 runners on base today. They have gotten 7 hits, left 5 runners on base, but they're losing 2-0. And guess what? They took Nick Castellanos out of the lineup. Turner, Schwarber, Harper, Realmuto, Martian left, Bader in center, Kepler in right field. They took Kemp out of the lineup because he's been cold. Sosa at third base. I was kind of hoping that yesterday Harper might have shown you a little something. Like, all right, Harper's waking up a little bit. Nope. 0 for 3 today. Trey Turner's getting on base. But your 2 best hitters, 0 for 3 each. Marsh has made, they like to call it the good contact today. Not gotten really the job done, though. And Harrison Bader's played some good defense in this game, but he's been inconsistent at the plate. And I'm starting to wonder if this team is running out of buttons to press, because unless this offense decides to start doing their job, you got shut down by Cade Cavalli. 99% of you listening on 97.3 ESPN FM, you watching me on YouTube and X at Josh Hennig in the Dr. Squatch virtual studios. The majority of you, if you're listening on 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle, you have no idea who Cade Cavalli is. But guess what? He shut down your Philadelphia Phillies. Why? Because your Philadelphia Phillies team has a problem. And that problem is poor plate approach, poor plate discipline. And at some point, we got to stop blaming the manager and the hitting coach and start looking at these players and wondering, is this team good enough? Here we go. I asked this question for the last few months. Are the Philadelphia Phillies good enough to win a World Series? The way this team's playing right now, do I really want to wake up early enough to get my Roku set up, whatever app that is, and watch an 11:35 game tomorrow morning? I know where you can watch this Phillies game. Whether win or lose, you should be watching at yesterday's Creekside Tavern, Roosevelt Boulevard in Marmora. Whether they're winning, you can cheer on with other Philly sports fans inside the bar where the sound is always on. Or if they're not playing so well, you can go out in the yard and enjoy the live music and entertainment and get some fresh air and maybe drown your sorrows in some great food and drink. But you could do it all, whether on the back deck, in the yard, or inside at the bar. You could do it all at yesterday's Creekside Tavern, Roosevelt Boulevard in Marmora, the best sports bar in South Jersey, where you should go for every Phillies, Eagles, Sixers, and Flyers game. The place to be in South Jersey for live entertainment, sports, and great times is yesterday's Creekside Tavern in Marmora, the official sports bar of Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN.
Sunday morning in the locker room with Billy Schwein, producer Alex Berardis, and Mr. Negadelphia, P.J. Corda. Join me in the studio. Every Sunday during the baseball season, we go on the mound with former Phillies pitcher Tommy Green, brought to you by Blitz's Market in Ocean City. We'll get Tommy's thoughts on the Phillies down the stretch. Then we will recap the Eagles-Browns in preseason game number 2. Which Eagle impressed the coaches and who did? All that and more is the locker room with Billy Schwein, Sunday morning from 10 a.m. to noon on 97.3 ESPN.
For 23 years, we've helped athletes at all levels at Clemic Performance Method, from youth to pros, increase maximum velocity, acceleration, vertical leaps, and general physical preparedness. We offer youth, high school, and pro college classes. Our proven results have earned national recognition from NFL coaches, sponsors, and a feature on ESPN Radio's Sports Science segment. You can contact me directly at 609-742-6190, or as always, visit us on our website, ClemicPerformanceMethod.com.
With Progressive's Home Quote Explorer, you can easily find the right home insurance for you, even if it's not with Progressive. But if you don't choose us, then sure, okay, it's not going to work out. We're not going to cry about it or stay awake wondering what our future together would have looked like. We can't get emotionally invested, even if it sounds like we are. Progressive's Home Quote Explorer allows you to easily compare home insurance rates and coverages in one place, even if it's not with us. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and third-party insurers. Comparison rates not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy. I love you. I shouldn't have said that.
The John Deere Gator XUV lets you cut, pack, drive, scout, weld, stack, feed, pull, load, tow, spray, and haul, all in a single day. Because with the highest cargo box volume in its class, customizable features, and a towing capacity of up to 4,000 pounds, it gets the job done. You just have to get in the seat. Learn more at your John Deere dealer or visit johndeere.com/GatorXUV.
Hi, I'm Michael from the War and Treaty. You know the jingle. Now discover the facts about Ozempic, a GLP-1. Only Novo Nordisk makes FDA-approved Ozempic. Learn about the real thing.
Talk to your healthcare professional today. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and to learn more about Ozempic, semaglutide injection 0.5 milligrams.
On us. The broken coffee maker?
That one's still on you, which means you'll save hundreds for your business and get the fastest mobile service with 5G cellular and Wi-Fi hotspots on us. But hurry, this deal won't last long. Get a mobile plan and free up the budget to maybe, I don't know, fix that coffee maker? Get mobile on us for 1 year, you guessed it, on us. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Ends 9/22/25. Restrictions apply. New mobile customers only with internet standard service or above. Limited to value of 1 unlimited intro line apply via 12 monthly internet bill credits. 1 discount per account. Fastest mobile based on mobile Wi-Fi and cellular data in service areas. Ookla Speed Test Intelligence 2H24.
Gain a global perspective and specialized skills that many of today's top employers are seeking with an MBA from University of Maryland Global Campus. Study online and complete your degree in just 16 months for about $21K. Choose from MBA specializations in global business, marketing, HR, finance, and more. No application fee if you apply by September 3rd. Learn more at umgc.edu. That's umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Popsicles, sprinklers, a cool breeze. Talk about refreshing. You know what else is refreshing this summer? A brand new phone with Verizon. Yep, get a new phone on any plan with Select Phone Trade-in and My Plan. And lock down a low price for 3 years on any plan with My Plan. This is a deal for everyone, whether you're a new or existing customer. Swing by Verizon today for our best phone deals. 3-year price guarantee applies to then current base monthly rate only. Additional terms and conditions apply for all offers.
Elevate your luxury experience at Matt Blatt Infiniti. Lease the QX60 Lux for just $349 a month, or drive the commanding QX80 Sensory, just $799 a month. Matt Blatt Infiniti is offering up to $15,000 off MSRP on select QX80 Sensory models with 0 down and no payments until October. Matt Blatt Infiniti, where luxury lives and you belong. On approved credit, must have qualifying trade Infiniti or other luxury brand. $1,666 per thousand. Offers not in combination through IFS. Lease rebate and dealer discount 36 months, 5,000 miles per year. First payment up to $12,360. Dealer discount rebate to dealer plus tax $589 fee. Call 877-289-6670 or visit mattblattinfinity.com.
Now back to Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN FM.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
And on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
Streaming live on YouTube, Instagram, and the X platform.
Single setback. Play action. Gabriel rolls. He's looking. He fires, and it's intercepted on the far side of the field. It is picked off at the 50, the 40, the 30. It's Makuba all the way to the 10-5. Touchdown for the rookie from Texas, Andrew Makuba.
Andrew Makuba, big play today, as heard here on 97.3 ESPN. Drew Makuba with his first big play of his NFL life. Remember, he didn't even play in the first preseason game. He got back into the starting lineup today. He's fully recovered from a shoulder ding. And you know what? He showed you the instincts that made him a second-round draft pick. He showed you the instincts today, more than just that play, why Vic Fangio was so excited when they drafted him on draft night, on day number 2 of the draft. Josh Hennig hanging out with you, a special edition of Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank. See how we are streaming live on YouTube and X in the Dr. Squatch virtual studios at Josh Hennig. Like, subscribe, follow, share with your friends. We'll give you an update on the Phillies game as well. I got to tell you, I don't know if the Phillies are just afraid of using their bullpen at this point, or they just like abusing their starters, but Taijuan Walker is back out there in the 7th inning. I don't understand this at all. They're losing 2-0. Like, I get it. Taijuan Walker is an innings eater. I totally understand that. But he got you through 6 innings. Like, what's the purpose of abusing him potentially and putting him out there again? Like, if he gets you through the 7th inning, I mean, he's on the borderline of doing it. It's absolutely amazing. How can you take this guy out of the starting rotation at this point? You're losing 2-0 because your offense is an abomination. But you know what's not an abomination? Drew Makuba. Drew Makuba showed you today, and we'll get into this more with Chris Franklin from NJ Advanced Media, who is covering the game today for NJ.com, coming up in about 14 minutes from now. Drew Makuba showed you today every instinct that is going to make him the man who is going to start at safety for this team. First of all, what did you see from Makuba today? Well, what you saw from Makuba was a guy who knows where to be. That interception that you just heard Merrill Reese call earlier today on 97.3 ESPN, the fumble recovery that he had, also some of the tackles that he made today, those were all plays that are made by a guy who, frankly, is one of the best prospects on this team. And that's saying something, considering you have a lot of great prospects on this team. Listen, Jahad Campbell, that sack that he had in the first quarter, that was just a beast mode move. And the way the young defensive players played in this game, don't let the final score get you twisted, okay? The 22 points that the Browns had, one of them one of them just shouldn't have been a touchdown at all. Okay, if we're all being honest, all right? I mean, the Browns didn't win 22-13. The Eagles lost the game 22-13. Don't give me this, the Browns dominated the Eagles. Don't be the person looking at the final score and tell me what happened. That interception return was deflected. It shouldn't have been intercepted at all. Realistically, this was actually a much closer game. This was like a 15-13 game. That's what it should have been. So don't act like this wasn't a defensive game. This was a defensive game from beginning to end. Both teams have defenses that really showed up and showed out in this game. That's what really happened. I thought the Eagles' defense did a great job. Makuba was a huge part of it. The way that he played, Jahad Campbell, he had a great day. Smile Mondin, Jeremiah Trotter Jr., Tristan McCollum made some good plays in this game. Jacorian Bennett showed you some of the flashes of what made him so valuable to a team like the Philadelphia Eagles. By the way, Taiwan Walker got through 6 2/3 innings. There's a run on first base right now. They go to the bullpen. They called in Jordan Romano. Let's see how this goes. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness. They already got a stolen base on Romano. Romano is so slow and deliberate to the plate. Phillies probably going to lose this game for like the dumbest reason possible. You can tell that JT, for those who are watching the game, JT Realmuto right now is angry that this wasn't out. Yeah, it's just, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, maybe if Jordan Romano wasn't such a guy stuck in his own head, they might have actually not had a stolen base on them. But anyway, Taiwan Walker, I said earlier, he deserves a ton of credit. I mean, this dude went 6 2/3 innings. He gave up 2 runs, but your offense has done absolutely nothing today. Bryce Harper 0 for 3. Kyle Schwarber 0 for 3. Oh my goodness, Jordan Romano, he is imploding in front of our eyes. My goodness. We'll keep you updated on the fiasco that is the Phillies game here on 97.3 ESPN. Josh Hennig hanging out with you in the Dr. Squatch virtual studio. I mentioned about how the defensive battle for this game in Philadelphia. You know, I am not trying to throw any, I'm not going to throw the Eagles quarterbacks under the bus, all right? But Kyle McCord and Dorian Thompson-Robinson showed you exactly why Tanner McKee didn't start today. You heard Nick Sirianni talk about it about an hour ago when you heard the press conference. We played it for you here on 97.3 ESPN. Sirianni kind of told you without telling you, hey, we knew what the Browns were going to do in this game. We knew the Browns were going to bring blitzes and exotic formations, and they were going to attack defensively. So they didn't want Tanner McKee to be put in harm's way, because Kyle McCord and Dorian Thompson-Robinson both were running for their life at times in this game. And while I'm happy that Kyle McCord got to throw a touchdown, and I'm happy that Ainias Smith got another touchdown. By the way, Ainias Smith, I mean, he just looks like he's going to make this team easily the way he's performing on special teams and as a receiver. But it was very obvious that the Eagles' backup offensive line has got some issues. And I don't know what Philadelphia can necessarily do about it because the free agent market right now is not full of dudes who can just come in and be backups. Unless a guy like Shaq Mason, the former Patriots guard, is willing to come in a reserve capacity. I think you got to be a little concerned about if Landon Dickerson's knee is not ready to go week 1 against the Cowboys. There is no scenario, because I can believe the guy's name, Brett Toth. There is no scenario where you want Brett Toth out there starting week 1 of the season. Now, I will admit, I don't know if it would be a bad idea to kick Tyler Steen to left guard for 1 game and insert Matt Pryor at right guard. But Matt Pryor didn't look great at right tackle today. Now, is that because he's a better guard than tackle, or is that because Matt Pryor is struggling? Kennard has been getting snaps at the right guard position. He looked much better in week 1 versus week 2. I think it's very obvious that the Bengals defense is much worse than the Browns. They have worse talent, worse coaching, worse everything. So the Browns were a huge test for the Eagles' offensive line. Jeff Stoutland is going to need to take these guys back to school because all the starters today for this preseason game, all of them struggled at times. And it was very obvious that they didn't know what to do. And so when we talk to Chris Franklin coming up in about 6 minutes from now, I'm curious to get his perspective on how the offense performed because I thought the offense got really taken advantage of. This was a defensive game. None of the quarterbacks necessarily looked great unless Keely Ringo was being thrown at. That's pretty much it. The other problem, though, today was I don't know. Now, again, I don't know. All right. I don't have the coach's headset on, but I don't know what exactly the game plan was with the offense. I feel like the way they attacked the quarterbacks, it negated their desire to run the ball. They probably could have run the ball more in this game, but who didn't get a single touch today? Running the ball or targeted. Will Shipley. Based on the way he was used at joint practices this week, it looks like he is pretty much solidified a roster spot. Not just because he's a draft pick, but because he looked like a guy at joint practices that was ready for the moment. Well, he was so ready for the moment, he didn't get a single pass target, a single snap, a single run play in this game. Instead, your running backs were Montrell Johnson, Keelan Robinson, and A.J. Dillon. And then Dillon really didn't get that many snaps once the game started progressing on. It seems like Philadelphia is locked in. They know who their running backs are behind Saquon Barkley. They know who the defensive line is going to be. They're just figuring out who the 3rd, 4th tight ends would be, who the 4th, 5th, and potentially 6th, if they keep 6, wide receivers are going to be, and they're deciphering still who the 3rd quarterback is going to be. Because I think that you saw today Jacorian Bennett take a huge step toward being a starter for this team. So, very interesting takeaways from the Eagles game, as heard right here on 97.3 ESPN. Phillies are still losing 2-0. Kyle Schwarber at bat trying to keep the inning alive, but we are in the top of the 8th inning, and the Philadelphia Phillies, their offense is struggling. Taijuan Walker, how about the job that guy did? I mean, he endured. He survived. And you know what? It was all for nothing. Poor Taijuan Walker. I mean, that guy's done everything his team has asked him to do and more. Taijuan Walker deserves some sort of, I don't know. The guys in the locker room need to get together and like take him out for like a big steak dinner or something. Like, that guy has done everything this team has asked of him. And he's excelled. You go through almost 7 innings and you went out there and only gave up 2 runs in 6 2/3 innings. That ain't Taijuan Walker's fault why you're losing the game. You're losing the game because you've left 5 runners on base. And you've had 7 hits on the day. You're getting shut down by guys like Chad Cavalli. Pathetic. Chris Franklin from NJ Advanced Media joins me next on 97.3 ESPN.
Listen up. The soap you shower with, it's you probably haven't even questioned what bar of soap you lather up with. Let's face it, most guys don't. But now you can upgrade your shower game with Dr. Squatch Natural Soap. I'm talking about natural, nourishing, cold-pressed, hand-cut soap for men. Men who use their hands. Men who build things. Men who catch foul balls without spilling their beer. You won't just smell good either. Your skin will be healthier and more nourished. We make our soaps with natural ingredients from the earth. Ingredients like oils, plants, goat's milk, Greek yogurt, oatmeal, shea butter, and citrus. Turn your shower game up to 11. Get ready to step out of the shower feeling alive.
Hey, this is Josh Hennig. Go to my social media and click my exclusive Dr. Squatch link for your chance to save $10 off your next order of great natural soap, deodorant, and much more. Only with Dr. Squatch.
Elevate your luxury experience at Mad Blood Infinity. Lease the QX60 Lux for just $349 a month, or drive the commanding QX80 Sensory, just $799 a month. Mad Blood Infinity is offering up to $15,000 off MSRP on select QX80 Sensory models with 0 down and no payments until October. Mad Blood Infinity, where luxury lives and you belong. On approved credit, must have qualifying trade Infinity or other luxury brand. $1,666 per thousand. Offers not in combination through IFS. Lease rebate and dealer discount 36 months, 5,000 miles per year. First payment up to $12,360 dealer discount. Rebate to dealer plus tax $589 doc fee. Call 877-289-6670 or visit madbloodinfinity.com.
What is your next success story? At University of Maryland Global Campus, you can succeed again with more than 135 affordable online degrees and certificates to help you move your career forward. From cybersecurity and AI to healthcare and MBA, our programs help you build critical thinking, leadership, and communication skills that set you apart in today's job market. Apply now and save with no application fee through September 3rd. Visit umgc.edu to get started. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Citizens, since we each upgraded to Xfinity in our homes, the Wi-Fi has been booming. It's fair to say our town has officially become a boomtown.
Mayor, will I be able to drop into multiplayer gaming battles with low lag?
The lag won't be an issue, but your questionable skills may be.
And what if I have hundreds of devices on the Wi-Fi? Purely hypothetical.
Seems like a lot, but sure, hundreds of devices all booming together with the Xfinity Gateway. Yes, friends and neighbors, with Xfinity, the Wi-Fi is booming.
The Wi-Fi isn't the only thing that's booming. Now get the most reliable Wi-Fi and our best-in-class equipment for one consistent price for 5 years guaranteed. All in. Plus, get unlimited data included and no annual contract. All with the 5-year price guarantee from Xfinity. Visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. New residential customers only. Select plans only. Xfinity Gateway with XFi Complete required for unlimited data except in certain areas. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August 2024. Actual speeds vary.
South Jersey's official play-by-play home of the Eagles, Sixers, and Flyers.
At 0 point would I ever consider not being a fan of the team.
97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City. A Town Square media station serving all of South Jersey.
Finally! This is Hanging with Hennig.
I have friends everywhere.
On 97.3 ESPN Radio, South Jersey.
In New Jersey. Am I right? Yeah.
Live feed on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
It seems to run on some form of electricity. Well, you're not wrong.
Streaming live on YouTube, Instagram, and the X platform.
The internet is a communications tool used the world over where people can come together.
Now, here's your host.
He's not gone. That's the whole point. He's never gone!
Josh Hennig.
Gabriel in the gun. Motion to the far side of the field and thrash. Gabriel is back. Looks left. Starts to move. Eagles trip him up and a lose yardage.
Yeah, on the...
That was Jahai Campbell that got that sack, as heard here on 97.3 ESPN. You know, the good news for the Eagles is that the defense had some good moments today. But don't get it twisted. We all know if there's something to complain about, Eagles are going to find it. Oh, the offense didn't do anything. I do think there were some interesting things to take away from this game for as unentertaining as it was on the whole. Chris Franklin covers the Philadelphia Eagles in the NFL for NJ Advanced Media, NJ.com. At C Franklin News is where you give him a follow for all of his coverage. And he joins me right now here on a special edition of Hanging with Hennig following the Eagles-Browns preseason game number 2 for the Birds, heard here on 97.3 ESPN. Chris, welcome in. How you doing today?
Not too bad. But what if the offense was like really tough to watch and paint was more entertaining at times to watch dry than that? I don't know. Maybe I'm just kidding now, but yeah, it was interesting. I'll just say leave it at that.
Well, part of what was interesting, Chris, and let's start with some of the guys on defense. I thought that today was one of those days where Eagle fans, whether they were listening on the radio with me or they were watching the game or they were at the game, today was one of those days where you got to see exactly why Philadelphia drafted Jahad Campbell in the first round and Andrew Makuba in the second, right, Chris?
Oh, yeah. When you look at the way that Campbell, you saw the versatility. In fact, he was rushing off the edge at times. And he looked pretty decent doing it against this Browns offense. And then we saw when he was able to blitz up the middle and get those stops. And then you look at Makuba. I mean, he's directly involved, the reason why they were able to get their 2 scores. You look at the way he get that interception. And first of all, I'll just say the Browns, I don't know what they were doing in that scramble drill because he was able to just cut between them and the 2 receivers were so close. It was like, what's going on? But you saw the instincts of Makuba. He was able to see where it was going and diagnose the play, cut between them. And, he had the athletic ability and the vision to find his way to the end zone after that. And then also to pick up that fumble recovery. So I look at that overall, and you see 2 depth guys there that could really become really valuable pieces there to the point where now I'm going to go to Makuba. To the point now, I'm starting to wonder, do you make him your starting safety now, and then do you roll DeJean if you don't figure out this cornerback 2 situation?
You mentioned about Makuba. I thought that I know Fangio is very big on, like, I need you to learn the defense. I don't care what you're – but I thought today was the day that Makuba said, hey, look, this might be my first action on the field, but I got the instincts to make up for what I don't know.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Sometimes, too, with, like, coaches would rather see an aggressive playmaker. I know it's a safety spot, and you don't want that to happen because it's the last line defense. But a lot of times, if you can't figure out, the assignment or what have you, you just use your athletic ability. You can get by on some of that stuff, and I think you can do that. When it comes to some of those coverage and passing off and what have you, yeah, you can learn that. But I think when you look at the other options that they have on this roster right now, without using DeJean back there per se, like on a regular basis, I think he gives you the most versatility and it gives you the most upside to really try to confuse offenses.
You just mentioned about confusing offenses, and that just made me think of something. We saw today that the Eagles' defense did a good job at times of confusing the Browns' offense. What does it say to you that for 2 teams that saw each other all week, that a guy like Fangio and a guy like Jim Schwartz still had something in their bag for a day like today?
Oh, I think a lot of times it's that competitive nature. Even though, we got the practices and wins. We're going to treat some of this stuff like a game. We're going to treat and do some of the stuff like, all right, we're going to throw something that they haven't looked at. Let's see how they adjust to it. And it's a good learning experience for both of these teams. They purposely left some looks out there that they didn't want to see. So you need to teach some of these, especially these younger guys and these depth guys, you need to teach some of these guys to how the game plan at the NFL level. And not only that, be prepared for what the unknowns, because week 1 comes around. If you need to rely on, say, Makuba, if you need to rely on Campbell, sometimes you see the Cowboys may start out with one look, and next you see on tape that they did last year, all of a sudden they throw out something completely different. How fast are they going to adjust to that situation? How fast can they diagnose it? Do they know their base rules of coverage and what have you? So, yeah, you need days like this. And I thought overall for what they did, not only Fangio for teaching guys, Christian Parker, what have you, other guys teaching these guys, getting these guys prepared before some of the players, I won't say all of them because there's some things to be lacking desired, but some of these players were able to rise up and show that they can adapt to that.
Oh, don't worry. We'll get to some of the guys who did not show up today. Chris Franklin from NJ Advanced Media joining us at C. Franklin News on X and Instagram, joining us here. Special edition of Hanging with Hennig, bridging you between Eagles preseason game number 2 and Cowboys preseason game number 2 here on 97.3 ESPN. Chris, the other guy that I thought, Makuba, Campbell, they both really showed out. I thought the other thing we took away from this game, at least I did, was, Smile Mondin and Jeremiah Trotter Jr., there's been such a lack of solid, competent linebacker play that, it was cute that they showed Nakobe Dean on the sideline today, but I'm almost starting to wonder, if you look at all these young guys, there's a chance that Nakobe Dean, whenever he's healthy again, Chris, he may be having to share playing time with some of these other guys, because right now, outside of Zach Baun, if I had to make a depth chart, Chris, from my eyeballs, it's after Zach Baun, it's Campbell, then Trotter Jr., and then Dean is fighting with Smile Mondin and Trotter Jr. for reps.
See, I still put Dean out there. If I was starting there like in regular season, I still put Dean when he's healthy enough to get back there and start playing. I still have him starting because I think a lot of the attention is still going to go on Zach Baun, and offenses are still going to try to maneuver around him and try to put more pressure on that. And then eventually Campbell as well, too. You played a rotation there. Mondin, to me, I think his best route to even make this team, and that's even like look at it, it's tough to say that because they're so deep, is mostly special teams. I just want to see that because I think he's a little too aggressive at times. I think he overruns some of those holes in there when he has to scrape and stuff like that. So and then tackling. So I look at those things. That's what has me questioning if he's going to see significant snaps. Jeremiah Trotter Jr., I thought he'd take a little bit more of a step forward during his preseason, and there's still some things that has to be done. I'd feel more comfortable with him as a special teams / fourth linebacker, because if you're starting your fourth linebacker, you're probably already in trouble to begin with. But I'd rather feel more comfortable with him as a fourth one. But yeah, there's some depth issues beyond that. But I don't think we'll see like beyond them going like 3 linebackers when everybody's up and healthy as well too. And besides, Nakobe Dean's going to need those reps as well too. I think he's also a linchpin. I think when you look at the way that the guys have talked about his ability to know leadership and speaking, you still need a guy on there because you lost a lot of that, and he's still getting a lot of respect, and he's still good diagnosing plays. So I still will put him up there as a 2 when he's healthy enough. I'm still starting him. But I think you see Campbell in a heavy rotation, they start to go exotic looks with those 3.
You just mentioned about the leadership. Yeah, I'm not trying to get rid of Dean and his leadership because it's been documented that, at Georgia, he was the man who ran the locker room down at Georgia. So for a young man to already have those leadership intangibles, he definitely needs a role in this team. I'm just wondering what exactly that role is going to be, just because of the fact that, how Fangio is, Chris. You miss time, you got to earn your time back. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think over time they'll work him in a little bit more, because especially that whole thing when he's talking about his kneecap was up to near his thigh and stuff, that's pretty serious stuff, and it takes some time to get back from that. But I think eventually when he's full, I think they were going to give him the job. Then who knows? Maybe we see like a 3-3-5 look where you got the 3 down linemen. You use either Baun or Campbell off the edge to be that 4th rusher, and then you just have Dean come in there, either use him blitz up the middle, or he goes back into coverage as well to cover the flat to curl area. So maybe you start to see stuff like that. But yeah, I think you still rotate those 3 guys, because once you get beyond that, you have some serious question marks, serious ones.
Speaking of leadership, I, after today, have, and again, my eyeballs, Chris, you were covering a team all week, so I'm just telling you what I'm observing. I saw Adoree Jackson talk up his teammates after 2 different plays today, and I saw him be at least better than he was last game. I'm starting to wonder if Adoree Jackson makes this team as a reserve corner, and that the starting corners, like it would be something like Bennett and Mitchell on the outside, and then Jackson would be one of the backups, because it almost seems like he's embracing that idea of like, hey, I'm not going to be a starter for this team, but I can still be a veteran to help these guys.
See, I wouldn't put it past it, because you look there, so I want to say like 2023, I believe it was. You look how many cornerbacks they kept on that roster, and you're looking like, Like, because they didn't want to give up some of those like guys like Eli Ricks, where he was undrafted and he was playing well. So you're looking like, okay, I can see him going back heavy. The thing with me is when I'm looking at Jackson is, are the Eagles want to try? I know it's like $1.3 million or something like that. Are the Eagles want to guarantee that contract? Because if he's a vested veteran, if he's on the roster week 1, his contract's guaranteed throughout the year. And I know it doesn't sound that much, but every little bit helps, and especially if there's an injury, whatever, you need to pick up a guy, you're going to need every piece of penny, and also you want to try to roll over as much as you can to try to extend some of these guys and help your cap for next year. So I wonder if he's going to make the roster as a whole, like if he's going to be on a roster week 1. Maybe they sign him as a practice squad for week 1, and then they try to add him back on week 2 or something like that. I see some elements where you can use him, maybe a dime package, but then also you still have Kelee Ringo, and you know how much the draft capital they have to give him. You used him in the 4th. I'm on the side of saying maybe they keep Kelee Ringo and they cut Adoree Jackson and they go with Ja'Cory Benton to start. Eli Ricks it still has value on this team, but it's getting really tough as well too. And then you get with guys like Perry Nickerson playing your backup nickel and stuff like that. There's a lot of moving parts that are going to have to be made. For me, I still have Adoree Jackson being on the outside looking in.
What is the Mac McWilliams factor in all this? Because he's a guy that I know they've worked out in the nickel. They've worked him on the outside. You know, I thought what I saw from him today was Mac McWilliams, Chris, did something that I don't think anybody other corner can say so far this preseason, Chris, which is he played well enough they didn't throw his way.
Yeah. You're allowed to do that? I thought you were allowed to have to play off like 8 yards and then just allow completions in front of you. Yeah. I think it was one of those things where I think he was in his head too much for most of this preseason. And I think something clicked. And I don't know if it's just getting the extra reps on the outside when during his week preparing for his game, but something just clicked where he just played free. And he looked good, as you saw. It just came naturally. He didn't get in his head too much. He wasn't thinking that. And then you saw that's what you get when you see that there. And I know they're trying more as a nickel, and it helps to be versatile no matter what, as versatile as you possibly can. I like him on that outside and the backup as a backup. And he's one of those guys where you look at, okay, maybe you could go light at another position just to make sure you keep some of these defensive backs in case, say one of them bombs out and you have to put somebody else in, or you just need depth stuff. So I like the progression he's making. I think he can be a player in this league, all pro, not necessarily, but I think he can be a serviceable guy, especially with how deep this team is.
Talking with Chris Franklin from NJ Advanced Media at C Franklin News on X and Instagram. Joining me here for a special edition of Hanging with Hennig following Eagles preseason game number 2. Doesn't matter the Eagles lost the game. We're talking about what actually happened on the field here on 97.3 ESPN. Chris, we got to go to the offense because there was some negatives that we have to hit on. And I think the most surprising negative for anyone listening or watching the game, Chris, what happened to the offensive line? What happened to Stoutland U? I felt like there were multiple times that, Sirianni said after the game, Chris, that, we weren't planning not to play Tanner McKee. It was almost like him and the coach staff had a premonition. They needed to get Tanner McKee out of harm's way.
Yeah, you got to keep the Golden Goose happy. You want to get those picks either this year or next year. You don't want to lose that draft asset, and also just to put him in that beating. I mean, the one play that really stands out is the Miles Hinton one where he just got beat clearly off the edge and almost just goes. If you want to look at the definition of a lookout block, that's it. It almost like I don't know if he didn't even yell lookout. He got beat. I wish I saw better body language from him. It's like he just got beat and just turned around and looked, and we saw what happened. Let's that turnover. So I look at that and boy, we talked about, and I can't believe I'm saying stuff like that, but like you look at way back in time, you saw Jack Driscoll, you saw all those other guys, the veteran guys. They had somebody ready to step up and ready to go. Brett Toth, yeah, I feel a little more comfortable in that one. Matt Pryor, we knew what he was beforehand in his first stint, and he had that penalty, and there's still some questions with that too. And Lamb's a little. It's just there's not that guy that you feel really comfortable. But maybe one guy, I'll say Toth, if he comes in at guard or tackle, not at center. I don't like Toth playing center.
Nobody needs to see that ever again.
No, that experiment happened. I think that's what caused Marcus Mariota's struggles early when he was with this team, and now it carried over now. So they need some more pieces. And you can get those guys through waivers, what have you there, but it just seems something's not right with these reserves as is. And I know Cleveland, Jim Schwartz is a heck of a defensive coordinator. He can scheme up some things. This wasn't even truly being schemed up for a regular season game. And you can have all games, but to have the whole entire unit, I think they need to make a few changes to that position. And I add a guy or two and see who comes available, because I'm not liking it at all.
Well, you just mentioned guys who come available. I was saying before you came on, Chris, that unless there's a guy like Shaq Mason who's willing to take a reserve role, it's not like there's a ton of dudes out there who can walk in off the street who could add to this team as is. So it's like, are we is Jeff Stoutland taking these guys back to the olden days, put them back in hard Stoutland U? Because Jordan Mailata, I don't know about you, Chris, but some of the videos I've seen, he looked tired this week during practice. This heat's taking a lot out of these guys. I know they're trying to work these guys hard for a tough schedule, but how much harder can you work them to prepare them for the season?
Yeah, I think if anything, this week was a perfect time to do it, especially when you got the Tampa game and all that stuff, and you have to play in those heat. This was the perfect week to do it, so they can get used to it instead of just going, all right, let's go in the bubble, let's go light, and just throw them down there, and we know what happens when they go down there. But yeah, I think this is going to be one of those weeks. I would love to be a fly on a wall just to hear at meeting, because Stoutland, how passionate, and I'll say passionate he gets when he sees something that he doesn't like or what have you. And I'll just leave it at that. I think you'll see a sharper. I will say this: I think you'll see a sharper team against the Jets, especially when it comes to that offensive line, because he'll be in their ear about some of those things. Some of them is just mental. If like I mentioned earlier, if it was the aggressiveness that got him there out of place, you can out-tease that. That Hinton one, I keep going back to that Hinton one where he just went olay and looked and didn't even try to run back. Stuff like that was going to make him mad. And you hope those players learn from it, because you may need them. And you already have Landon Dickerson dealing with that knee. He's going to be back eventually, but you never know. These guys, Cam Jurgens had that back. You don't want him banged up. You're really thin against that offensive line. So hopefully those guys stay healthy, but you need to get these guys prepared. And I ain't feeling it. Maybe Trekker Keegan. I don't know. It's rough.
It is rough, and I think that leads to the other concern after the game, not just the offensive line today, but I'm getting deja vu 2019 Eagles with all the drops, Chris. Terrace Marshall, E.J. Jenkins. I saw Kylan Granson drop a ball. Darius Cooper had a bad day at the office. I thought there was supposed to be a competition for some depth positions here going into this game, and it felt like the only guys who showed up who could catch the ball were Anais Smith and a guy who's not going to make the team. We all know Taylor Morin is not making this team on the 53-man roster, but he played like he wanted to make the team compared to some of these other guys.
Yeah. And you know what, though? I think another competition that really needs to do, and maybe you look elsewhere too, I'm not liking the third quarter. To me right now, it has to be Dorian Thompson-Robinson, because I'm looking at Kyle McCord. He's still late on some of his throws. Some of the throws when he did have time and settled, he got happy feet because he was so used to seeing pressure that he tried to throw it and it was off. And then when you get that and he finally gets a good pass, the receiver, you drop him. It was just all discombobulated. And listen, we know I probably say right now Anais Smith played his way into that fifth receiver role. The only person I could really see maybe try to sneak an extra spot on is Cooper. That's it. And even then, he had the game he had today. So, yeah, a lot of these guys, we'll see a guy or two added to the practice squad, I think, and get them through there. But, yeah, a lot of these guys we saw today, today really was like a third preseason game, because I think a lot of these guys aren't going to be around wide receiver.
Well, today was a mess. Let's just call it what it is, because, we didn't – you just talked about the receivers. Look, Anais Smith, we know he's making the team. Which is what capacity was he making the team? And I think he's established himself as he is, lock it, take it to the bank. He's probably the fourth or fifth receiver on this team. But, Chris, can we talk about the tight end for a minute? Because, Dallas Goedert has missed 4 games. He averages 4 games missed over the last few years. Grant Calcaterra, he has a history of injuries himself. E.J. Jenkins versus Kylan Granson versus Harrison Bryant. Did Harrison Bryant even dress today? I didn't even see him on the field. Jenkins dropped the ball. Kyle Granson dropped the ball. Kyle Granson looked like he didn't know where he was going at times. Like, if you're looking for a third tight end behind two guys with injury histories, today was a bad, bad day.
Yeah, and that's the day I'd rather have C.J. Uzomah somewhere out there and see if we can get him back. It's that bad.
Yeah.
There's a lot of depth-wise. If there's a Achilles, that one of the things I wish, there are two areas I wish the Eagles did a little bit better on. It was better trying to find better depth at edge rusher. I thought Azeez Ojulari did show better, but also the backup tight end spot. And think third tight end, how much often are you going to use it? Well, the goal line, you got to use it down around there.
Yep.
And then short yardage situations, you can try to push for so many times, but yeah, I mean, use them in that formation that time. So there is a role, a decent role that you can use with this team, But the thing you look at it and you're like, they're just not doing it. I'm out on Bryant. I'm not liking it, and there's a lot of these guys are just they're guys. E.J. Jenkins, the guy who had a really good preseason last year. It just seems like it's not clicking for him this year. If anything, it's just bad, and I don't know what you do about it, because if you're looking for anybody of note, it's not really that much out there. You're not going to spend that much on a third tight end anyway.
No.
But there's all these, you thought some of these younger guys you could set up and develop, because not only just beyond this year, you got Dallas Goedert situation. He's got 1 year left. You want somebody to come in. Probably now, if you really look at it, maybe only Calcaterra, the only tight end that you can see project coming back in 2026, because it's just that bad. So that's his area that this is 1 year, and when you know Goddard, it's almost like the Swallows of Capistrano returning. Dallas Goedert always seems to get hurt at some point in the season. You need one. You need to find one. And at this point, I feel better if they just grabbed out a veteran, a guy on a veteran minimum as the season progresses, and just use him in that third spot as opposed to one of these young guys that are early on the roster.
Well, right now, just according to Spot Track, here are the free agents available, Chris. You can pick one, okay? I'll give you the names. Gerald Everett, Mercedes Lewis, you mentioned C.J. Uzomah, Jeff Swain, and Hayden Hurst are your free agents available on the street.
Hurst is another guy with injury thing. Mercedes Lewis is
he's old.
I'd rather CJ.
He's 41 years old.
Yeah. I'd rather bring back CJ Uzomah. He knows this. He knows the lay of the land. He knows the offense. You might as well just go back with him. Honestly, he's the best one. He's the one I'd probably say would be the one they would go with, and to me, he'd fit in the best anyway. So it's bad. It's bad for this position.
Well, you can catch the next article about how bad the depth is at the Eagles position at NJ.com by Chris Franklin at C Franklin News on X and Instagram, and he joined me right here to recap a very bizarre Eagles preseason game number 2, as heard here on 97.3 ESPN. Chris, great stuff. Appreciate you jumping on.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, and everybody enjoy the rest of the week.
Well, they won't be enjoying it too much because the Phillies just embarrassed themselves. They just lost 2-0. We'll get into what happened with the Phillies game on the other side. Josh Hennig hanging out with you on 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. And we are streaming live as always on YouTube and X at Josh Hennig in the Dr. Squatch virtual studio.
The 2025 Little League Classic, live from historic Bowman Field in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. Let's go light up the night.
Cal Raleigh and the Mariners have broken it open. We're going to have some fun memories here tonight.
Cal Raleigh and the Seattle Mariners face Juan Soto and the New York Mets.
I was these kids not too long ago, so, it's awesome to be here.
Coverage begins tomorrow at 6 Eastern with first pitch at 7 Eastern.
Listen to Sunday Night Baseball on 97.3 ESPN.
Your go-to spot at the Jersey Shore to watch sports is also the Can't Miss Summertime Hangout for live music and great times in South Jersey. Yesterday's Creekside Tavern on Roosevelt Boulevard in Marmora features The Yard, with an outside bar, TVs, and live music on stage every weekend. So bring your friends to cheer on your favorite team, watch the sunset on the back deck, and make new summer memories in The Yard. You can do it all at yesterday's Creekside Tavern in Marmora. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram to learn about upcoming events and specials all summer long at yesterday's Creekside Tavern in Marmora.
For 23 years, we've helped athletes at all levels at Clemic Performance Method, from youth to pros, increase maximum velocity, acceleration, vertical leaps, and general physical preparedness. We offer youth, high school, and pro college classes. Our proven results have earned national recognition from NFL coaches, sponsors, and a feature on ESPN Radio's Sports Science segment. You can contact me directly at 609-742-6190, or as always, visit us on our website, clemicperformancemethod.com.
With Progressive's Home Quote Explorer, you can easily find the right home insurance for you, even if it's not with Progressive. But if you don't choose us, then sure, okay, it's not going to work out. We're not going to cry about it or stay awake wondering what our future together would have looked like. We can't get emotionally invested, even if it sounds like we are. Progressive's Home Quote Explorer allows you to easily compare home insurance rates and coverages in one place, even if it's not with us. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and third-party insurers. Comparison rates not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy. I love you. I shouldn't have said that.
Paul's new drone startup just lost its most genius computer scientist.
We just lost our best genius to some new genius who's got a genius new idea. I'm going to have to find a new genius, or two half geniuses, and fast.
He needs a computer scientist that can keep his startup from falling down.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
For the entire month of August, power up your weekends with the Red Tag Clearance event at Whitehorse RV Center. Take advantage and score bottom dollar pricing on travel trailers, fifth wheels, and motorhomes. Whitehorse RV has them all in stock. These vehicles are perfect for tailgating, road trips, and getting away on your terms. There's no games at Whitehorse RV and no pressure. Just real savings on RVs built for freedom and fun. Don't wait. These Red Tag deals won't last. 2 locations to serve you in Williamstown and Galloway. Whitehorse RV Center. Your RV adventure starts here.
Some things can steal your sunshine. Ugh, I just got my hair done.
Sorry, the cooler's broken. Anyone see my flip-flops? Anyone?
But COVID-19 can steal a lot more.
I just took a COVID test. Ugh.
Prescription medications for COVID exist. If you test positive this summer, ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com/COVID-19 to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Gain a global perspective and specialized skills that many of today's top employers are seeking with an MBA from University of Maryland Global Campus. Study online and complete your degree in just 16 months for about $21K. Choose from MBA specializations in global business, marketing, HR, finance, and more. No application fee if you apply by September 3rd. Learn more at umgc.edu. That's umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Do Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms keep coming back? Tremfya, guselkumab, may help, with rapid remission achieved at 12 weeks and lasting clinical remission at 1 year. Some even saw visible improvement of their intestinal lining at 12 weeks and 1 year. Tremfya is a prescription medicine used to treat adults with moderately to severely active Crohn's disease and adults with moderately to severely active ulcerative colitis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Healing is possible with Tremfya. Approximately 3 out of 10 patients were in endoscopic remission at 1 year, based on areas visualized on colonoscopy, which may not represent the deeper bowel layer or entire GI tract. Individual results may vary. Ask your doctor about Tremfya today. Call 1-800-526-7736 to learn more or visit tremfyaradio.com.
This summer, get ready to relive the glory days. Because Hank Azaria and the Easy Street Band are bringing the ultimate Springsteen celebration Saturday, August 23rd to the Music Box at Borgata. Tickets are going fast. Grab yours now at Ticketmaster.com. August 23rd, the Music Box at Borgata. Hank Azaria and the Easy Street Band, a Springsteen celebration. Be there.
You're hanging with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN FM.
Hey, you know what? There's another name you might know me by. Star-Lord.
And on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
Who? Star-Lord, man. Legendary outlaw.
Streaming live on YouTube, Instagram, and the X platform.
Josh Hennig here on 97.3 ESPN, hanging with Hennig special edition. We back to our normal 12 to 3, starting next Saturday and all football season. But we do have some news to get to, and I don't want to overreact to this news, okay? But during the commercial break that we just had here on 97.3 ESPN, as we're also streaming live on YouTube and X at Josh Hennig, Dave Dombrowski actually came out before Rob Thompson's normal post-game conversation with the media and announced that Zach Wheeler is going on to the injured list. So apparently it has been discovered that Zach Wheeler has a blood clot in his upper body close to his shoulder. He is going to go on the injured list. Now, the way Dombrowski and Rob Thompson spoke about it just now, it sounded like they caught the blood clot. They caught the blood clot pretty early on before it was problematic. And I'm not trying to read too much into it, but it was kind of inferred that maybe some of the issues in his shoulder have something to do with the blood clot. So again, Zach Wheeler is immediately going on injured reserve. They had discovered there is a blood clot in what they're calling his right upper extremity close to his shoulder. Now, I am not a doctor, but I am not a doctor, okay? But, according to, actual doctors, okay, when a blood clot forms in the upper part of the body, all right, like, for example, near the shoulder, in your arm, as long as it doesn't travel to the heart or lung region, it can be caught, it can be dealt with, it can be fine. But the blood clot can cause swelling, tenderness, pain radiating in the shoulder and neck. So it seems like that, again, we're piecing this together as we're finding out the news here on 97.3 ESPN. But it seems like that the shoulder issue that Wheeler is dealing with, if you go by the Cleveland Clinic and other medical professionals, that blood clots in the shoulder region can actually cause swelling, pain, soreness. So the soreness and pain that Wheeler was dealing with actually looks like his actual shoulder. It was actually due to this blood clot that they had discovered. So the latest news, Zach Wheeler will go on the injured list. He is dealing with what they are calling a blood clot in his right upper extremity. So, what does this mean for the Phillies moving forward? Well, number one, if he's going on the injured list, that seems like the obvious swap out. Nola comes off the injured list to start tomorrow. Wheeler goes on the injured list. So that's a very easy swap right there. That's number one. Number two, Wheeler was scheduled to start next Friday. It looks like now that will be Taijuan Walker will start instead. Because remember, the original plan was to go to a 6-man rotation. So Wheeler would have started Friday, Walker would have started next Saturday, Nola would have started next Sunday. It looks like the plan right now is everyone gets bumped back into a normal rotation. So Taijuan and Walker with them will start next Friday, Nola next Saturday, Ranger next Sunday, Sanchez next Monday. And then my working assumption is that the reshuffling of the rotation will allow the Phillies to go with Sanchez, Suarez, Luzardo, Walker, Nola until whenever Zach Wheeler is okay to go again. So again, the breaking news, Zach Wheeler going on the injured list, what they are describing as a blood clot in the right upper extremity near his shoulder, which means we actually have a direct explanation for the shoulder soreness discomfort that he has been given. Again, that was, so Dave Dombrowski came out with Rob Thompson to speak to the media. But the good news is they discovered the blood clot before it got anywhere near his lungs or heart. So this is not going to be a long-term issue for Zach Wheeler. Now, again, I am not a medical professional. But according to medical professionals, they caught this early enough. And that if he had been dealing with some soreness in his shoulder, the blood clot can cause pain and discomfort in your shoulder and your arm. So the control issues, the shoulder soreness may have been directly a result of this blood clot. Now, again, it's unclear when he will return. But the good news is, again, I want to remind everybody, they caught this before it got to his lung or his heart. So now the doctors can treat it, and he will be fine long term. Now, with Aaron Nola coming back, the Phillies have 5 starters that can run out there. And considering how well Taijuan Walker just pitched today, I am more than fine with Taijuan Walker staying in this rotation for the rest of the year. Zach Wheeler, take all the time you need. We do not need Zach Wheeler coming back too soon. Deal with the blood clot, deal with your health, get back, and you will be all good to go. Now, the timetable for treating blood clots, again, we are going off of what doctors say. I am not a doctor. But dealing with blood clots, how do you treat that? Well, if you don't treat it, it can basically result in a stroke. The treatment timetable is unclear. They are not giving us any information about when he can return to normal. Okay, but according to the American Heart Association and the Cleveland Clinic, so I'm going with 2 different doctors, medical professionals, who, again, what they say, the treatment of a blood clot is a 5 to 21 day period if it's acute or if it's not reached the heart or lungs. If it has reached the heart or lung region, it is somewhere between 3 to 9 months. So if this is what they are determined, what they are calling an acute blood clot or a blood clot that has not reached the heart and lungs, we can expect Zach Wheeler to be out of commission for 5 to 21 days. So let's go with the long end of this, okay? If Zach Wheeler is going to be out for 3 weeks, 3 weeks from today, we are in September. And then let's assume he's going to need a few rehab starts to ramp back up. There is a strong possibility we do not see Zach Wheeler for the next 4 to 5 weeks. So the Phillies need to plan accordingly that the next 4 to 5 weeks, your starting rotation is Nola, Luzardo, Suarez, Nola, Walker, Sanchez, Luzardo, and Suarez. They need to plan for that scenario. And this is where the Jose Alvarado thing becomes even more important, because you are going to need a bullpen that is going to get taxed. Right now, you only have 3 of your 5 starters who are capable of going deep in the games. I think it is very, very, very obvious, at least to me, Josh Hennig hanging out with you for a special edition of Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN. The breaking news, Zach Wheeler going to the injured list with a blood clot that was discovered in his upper body near his shoulder. If Wheeler is going to miss the next 4 to 5 weeks, again, going off of what treatment timetables are for what they are calling acute phases of blood clot treatments, then it is fair to assume that if Nola can give you 5 to 6 innings, Walker gives you 6 innings a start, Sanchez gives you 6 innings a start. Now the concern is Luzardo and Suarez. And if you're going to start treating these guys as if they cannot go through a lineup the third time, because it has been documented, as myself, Mike Gill, Nick Earnshaw, we've all documented it here on 97.3 ESPN. If the starting pitcher cannot go through the third time through the lineup, and they're going to constantly get tapped, then you're going to need the bullpen. And this is where Jose Alvarado comes in. The Phillies have already talked about using him in high leverage situations. You saw Jordan Romano come in today when they were losing 2-0. It is time to burn out Alvarado. That is going to be the answer for this team. Now, again, Zach Wheeler, going on injury reserve. Thoughts and prayers to his family, but the reports are that because it was found in his upper body and it didn't get to his lungs or his heart, that they can properly treat it. He will be out for probably, according to speculative information that we have, the typical recovery is 5 to 21 days for treatment. So if we're going to assume that no Zach Wheeler, he will not be taking a mound for potentially 3 weeks, it might take 2 weeks for him to ramp up. Now, that means he would be back in time for the postseason, but that means he would not be back anytime for the regular season. We are talking about a guy who potentially will not take the mound for the Phillies again, speculating on timetables, until mid to late September. So that is the latest news as the Phillies, their offense embarrasses all of us as they lose 2-0. Taijuan Walker got into the 7th inning only allowing 2 runs, but the offense for the Phillies embarrassed all of us today. And for a Phillies team that had won 12 of 15 games, they have now scored a grand total. They have scored a total of 13 runs. They scored 6 runs yesterday. But if you take out the 3 runs yesterday, in their last week of games, 6 days, 13 runs. That is an average of just over 2 runs a game. Bryce Harper, Kyle Schwarber, JT Realmuto. I can't play Castellanos today. He got benched. Somebody has got to wake up and get with the program at this point. Because you have one game since Sunday that you have scored. No, you have 2 games out of 6. You have scored 4 or more runs. Every other game, 1 run, no runs, 2 runs, and no runs again today. You've been shut out twice in the last 6 days. This is an embarrassment. This is unacceptable. This is an abomination. And the fact that you have $500 million invested into this lineup, and now you have our ace starter being out indefinitely, dealing with a blood clot in his upper shoulder. But I got to deal with these guys saying we got to do better tomorrow. No. You got to do more than better, because you're coming off this road trip looking like a team that forgot how to play baseball offensively. All right, Josh Hennig hanging out with you. 97.3 ESPN, special edition of Hanging with Hennig following the Eagles game. I don't know what's worse today. Is it all the drops by the Eagles backup receivers, or the fact that Bryce Harper has basically 2 good days in the last 2 weeks? 609-403-0973. Your DMs into 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. We'll get back to more of the sports conversation. Again, the breaking news today, Zach Wheeler, he will be out indefinitely. He has a blood clot in his upper body. The good news is it has not gotten to his heart or lungs, so he will be able to go under treatment immediately to deal with the blood clot. The bad news is we have no idea when he's coming back. But the good news is he is going to be fine and healthy, according to Phillies President of Baseball Operations Dave Dombrowski announced for Rob Thompson spoke to the media. Josh Hennig hanging out with you. We'll check out the text board coming up next on 97.3 ESPN.
Tonight on Compass Media Network's coverage of the NFL, the preseason rolls on as the Dallas Cowboys open up play at home against an AFC powerhouse, the Baltimore Ravens. Hi, this is Ted Emmerich. Join former Cowboys receiver Jesse Holley and me for all the action as the Cowboys and Ravens continue their preparations for the season. It's the Dallas Cowboys and the Baltimore Ravens. If it's the NFL, it's right here.
Football lives on 97.3 ESPN FM.
Coverage begins at 7 p.m.
Listen up. The soap you shower with, it's you probably haven't even questioned what bar of soap you lather up with. Let's face it, most guys don't. But now you can upgrade your shower game with Dr. Squatch Natural Soap. I'm talking about natural, nourishing, cold-pressed, hand-cut soap for men. Men who use their hands. Men who build things. Men who catch foul balls without spilling their beer. You won't just smell good either. Your skin will be healthier and more nourished. We make our soaps with natural ingredients from the earth. Ingredients like oils, plants, goat's milk, Greek yogurt, oatmeal, shea butter, and citrus. Turn your shower game up to 11. Get ready to step out of the shower feeling alive.
Hey, this is Josh Hennig. Go to my social media and click my exclusive Dr. Squatch link for your chance to save $10 off your next order of great natural soap, deodorant, and much more. Only with Dr. Squatch.
Eat up, buddy. It's almost time for school.
You take charge of your home. You take charge of your work. Don't forget to take charge of your gut health, too, with Nature Made Probiotics. Nature Made has clinically studied probiotics that work with your digestive tract's natural bacteria, so you won't miss a beat in your daily routine. Find us in the vitamin aisle. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Progressive knows when you're on your boat, you're already on vacation. And Vacation You forgets all your worries. Vacation You doesn't even keep track of time and knows that time is a meaningless construct designed to control us, man. But Regular You knows you don't want to be too far out in the water after the sun goes down because Vacation You doesn't know how to navigate in the dark yet. Vacation You and Regular You really need to get on the same page. So bundle your boat with your home or auto policy and earn an automatic discount from Progressive. And spend the savings on the both of you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Hi, I'm Michael from the War and Treaty. You know the jingle. Now discover the facts about Ozempic, a GLP-1. Only Novo Nordisk makes FDA-approved Ozempic. Learn about the real thing.
Talk to your healthcare professional today. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and to learn more about Ozempic, semaglutide injection 0.5 milligrams.
The John Deere Gator XUV lets you cut, pack, drive, scout, weld, stack, feed, pull, load, tow, spray, and haul, all in a single day. Because with the highest cargo box volume in its class, customizable features, and a towing capacity of up to 4,000 pounds, it gets the job done. You just have to get in the seat. Learn more at your John Deere dealer or visit johndeere.com/GatorXUV.
What is your next success story? At University of Maryland Global Campus, you can succeed again with more than 135 affordable online degrees and certificates to help you move your career forward. From cybersecurity and AI to healthcare and MBA, our programs help you build critical thinking, leadership, and communication skills that set you apart in today's job market. Apply now and save with no application fee through September 3rd. Visit umgc.edu to get started. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want a boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Turn things all the way up and find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy.
O'Reilly. Check engine, ABS, or maintenance light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. The service is free and provides a report with solutions verified by ASE certified master technicians. And if you need help, we could recommend a shop for you. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hi, I'm Michael from the Warren Treaty. You know the jingle. Now discover the facts about Ozempic, a GLP-1. Only Novo Nordisk makes FDA-approved Ozempic. Learn about the real thing.
Talk to your healthcare professional today. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and to learn more about Ozempic, semaglutide injection 0.5 milligrams.
This summer, get ready to relive the glory days. Because Hank Azaria and the Easy Street Band are bringing the ultimate Springsteen celebration Saturday, August 23rd to the Music Box at Borgata. Tickets are going fast. Grab yours now at Ticketmaster.com. August 23rd, the Music Box at Borgata. Hank Azaria and the Easy Street Band, a Springsteen celebration. Be there.
You're hanging with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN FM.
I want my picks back, and I want David Putney.
And on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
All my picks back, and I want David Putney just because I feel like it.
You're out of your mind.
Yeah, I am. Haven't I proved that already?
Streaming live on YouTube, Instagram, and the X platform.
All right, Josh Hennig back here in the Dr. Squatch Virtual Studios on 97.3 ESPN. I do want to play for you guys. So this is a quick summary audio I put together. So this was from the Phillies announcement just about 15 minutes ago. This is the Phillies trainer talking with Dave Dombrowski to the media about the diagnosis and the latest news on Zach Wheeler. So this is the specific details the team just announced about 20 minutes ago when they placed Zach Wheeler on injured reserve.
Yeah, Zach had been feeling better after his right shoulder soreness. But yesterday some symptoms had changed. He felt a little heaviness. So the doctors here were great in helping to diagnose and expedite that diagnosis this morning.
So that was after the game last night that he felt that?
What is the treatment for this type of blood clot? Yeah, so there's a wide variety of treatments. I won't get into specifics. I'll leave that for the doctors.
He's going to be further evaluated back in Philadelphia, so there'll be more information going into the week.
What broadly might the timeline look like?
Again, further evaluation early next week, more testing. It's still early on in the diagnosis, so I think we should gather more information before we put a prognosis and treatment plan together.
So that's the official news from the Phillies. Zach Wheeler, injured reserve, blood clot, upper shoulder. Ray from EHC chimes in on the text board at 609-403-0973. He says Damian Lillard went through something similar when he had blood clots. He was actually had a couple months timetable thing. You always better to go on the long end. Probably the best way to look at it. It's an unfortunate situation. Best picture for the Phillies that he's going to go through it this way. Well, the thing is, Ray and EHC, two things. One, the Lillard thing, when they discovered the blood clot, it was in his leg. And so there's a lot of questions about with Lillard and his blood clot. There was a lot of speculation that the reason why they took months for him to deal with the blood clot was because apparently it was not an acute blood clot. Apparently it was a much larger blood clot than people realized. So that's part of the reason why it took so long for him. That's why they say it's whether it's acute or it's a non-acute blood clot. That's why when he gets further testing in Philadelphia in the next coming days, we're going to find out more information. But you are right. Long term, Wheeler could be out for the entire year. So if Wheeler is out for the entire year, and this is going to be something that might take till next year, and it's obviously a huge blow for the Phillies, their World Series chances. But I would say, Rainy HT, I want to emphasize what the Phillies have been saying, that preliminarily they discovered it, they caught it. It has not gotten anywhere near his heart or his lungs. Now, they wouldn't say exactly where the blood clot is, but they're saying it's near his shoulder. So my working theory, again, I am not a doctor, but my working theory is the way they're talking about it, if they feel like that Zach's going to be fine in a good situation, maybe it's not as serious as the Lillard blood clot was. But again, Zach Wheeler going on injured reserve. He will be out indefinitely for the Phillies. So now your starting rotation activating Aaron Nola, who will be back tomorrow. Your rotation moving forward will be Nola, Ranger Suarez, Christopher Sanchez, Jesus Luzardo, and Taijuan Walker. That'll be your big five. And then starting Monday, you will get Jose Alvarado back into the bullpen. So now having an extra arm in that bullpen becomes even more important for the Philadelphia Phillies, because this team is going to need all the arms they can, because we already know Suarez and Luzardo, they have been struggling to get through the lineup the third time as starting pitchers. And we don't know, is Nola back to being old school Nola? Did all this time off maybe help his arm? We're going to find out tomorrow in the next couple starts. Nola is scheduled to play. Nola will actually, if you go off of the schedule, he is going to be starting against the Nationals twice. So currently on the schedule, he will go against the Nationals tomorrow morning, 11:35 a.m. on Roku. And then again next Saturday at 6:05 p.m. against the Nationals. So Nola's next two starts will be against the Nats. It's very interesting to see is how consistent he is going to be. But again, no Zach Wheeler till further notice. Best case scenario, he will be back by the end of September. The worst case scenario, he will not be back until next season. All right. Thanks again to Chris Franklin for joining me here on the special edition of Hanging with Hennig on 97.3 ESPN. Again, just crazy news. No Zach Wheeler until further notice. Keep it tuned to 97.3 ESPN FM and, of course, 97.3 ESPN.com for all the latest updates on what is going on with the Phillies and their rotation. Have a great weekend, everybody. Stay safe out there, and we will catch you next week on 97.3 ESPN.
Sunday morning in the locker with Billy Schwein, producer Alex Berardis, and Mr. Negadelphia, P.J. Corda.